I have the car in the garage. There is a heater because it is freezing, and I'm wearing gloves. The car's already jacked up, and we have the stoppers behind the front two wheels, and the tire off, and get started on this beautiful process. And then I'm going to show you the brand new caliper right here versus the old caliper. So stay tuned. So right now it's a matter of getting the caliper off of the mounting area. This is the caliper mount right here, and this is the actual caliper. So now that it's been unscrewed, it's just a matter of taking it off and disconnecting the brake hose, which is right there. This bad boy is what is broken on the caliper and the reason I'm replacing it in the first place. So we're just getting the last bolt off of there to remove the caliper itself. Caliper has been removed, and the old brake pads are now off, and there are the old brake pads. The new brake pads. This right here is the brake line, and that's what attaches to the caliper. So that bolt right there needs to be removed to disassemble the caliper from the brake line. So that is what I'm about to do right now. The brake line is coming off of the old caliper, and there's a drip pan underneath there to catch any excess brake fluid, which is bound to come out. So here is the old caliper versus the new caliper. So as you can see, this one is nice and shiny and pretty. Okay, but I'm gonna hurry and put it on. This green piece was in that hole, and the reason for that is to keep the air out of the caliper. It's very important that there's not any air inside the brake system, because then it will cause it'll prevent the right amount of pressure being applied to the brakes, more or less. Okay. So it's very important that any air be expelled from the brakes. So soon I'll show you how to bleed the brakes, which is the last part of the process of changing brakes. And now it's just a matter of putting it back on. Okay, but in the meantime, what I'm going to do is changing out the old brake pads to the new brake pads, because in order to complete this job, that must be done. So, okay, here are the old brake pads. As you can see, there's quite a difference in the thickness of the brake pads, which is a huge, huge difference. So, old, new. Okay. Anyway, I'm taking the backing plates off of the old brake pads and putting them on the new brake pads. So, I'm going to do that right now. Oh, these brakes were shot. Wow. I can't believe I drove on them for so long. Anyway, here are the new brake pads that are about to be put on. So I'll show you that process. Let me just tell you something real quick. This thing right here, if you get a set of brake pads, a set would be 2 brake pads to each axle. So a set would be front or back. I got a set of rear brake pads, so it came with 4 brake pads total. But there's one of the brake pads that has this little thing on it. Wow, my fingers look extra long. Anyway, this thing right here is the feeler. And once the brake pad starts to wear down to a certain level, that feeler will start to make noise. So if you are driving or backing up or making a turn or applying the brakes and you hear the screeching coming from your brakes, that's basically what this is. It's an indicator that your brakes are low and it's time to change them. As you can see, the feeler on my old brake pad is completely gone. So my brakes were making some crazy noises. And this is why, because there was like no brake. Bad, bad, bad. Shame on me. Anyway, get the brake grease. You want to apply that to your new brake pads before putting them in. My long fingers. Okay, just sliding the brake pads in here. There are grooves that are on the mount. Those grooves you just slide it in to. And it's really that simple, believe it or not. So that's one brake pad, and then let me get the back side, which is basically the same exact thing. There, that's pretty much it. Now, sliding up the new caliper, which fortunately the piston is already pushed back. Usually you have to push the piston back. You can use a C-clamp, or you can just use a screwdriver, but I suggest the C-clamp. And then, yeah, you just basically slide the caliper back up and just reassemble everything. And right now what we're doing is bleeding the brakes. Anytime you change your brakes, particularly the caliper, and you disconnect the brake hose, it's very important that you bleed your brakes in order to get the air pockets out of the brake system. Right about to that top of the box.
There you go.
Alright.
Cool.
I'm in the car now, about to bleed the brakes, so can't really see too much in here. But anyway, there's my shoe and the brake pedal. So all I'm doing is I'm pushing down the brakes, I'm pumping the brakes, let's see, and applying pressure. Okay, should I hold it?
Yeah, hold it.
Okay. Hold. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm holding.
To the floor, right?
To the floor, yeah.
Are we good on this one?
Good? Yeah. After a long, hard day working in the garage, the brakes are finally done on my car. So now I have shown you how to complete the replacement of the caliper and brake pads on disc brakes. So this happens to be the back, but it's the same concept with any type of disc brakes. Am I right? Same principles. Disc brakes are pretty simple. So there's the old caliper, which I'm holding on to because at auto parts stores they can recycle these parts, they can rebuild them and then resell them. So they charge a core fee. In this case I paid an extra $60. So once I return that right there, that ugly thing, I'm going to get $60 back. This new one costs $60, so all in total I paid $120. I'm getting $60 back, so I paid $60 and plus the 30-something $50 for the brake pads. So all in total I have a new caliper, new brake pads, and brakes done.